Lightning forked across Tokyo's night sky as Admiral Helena Chen stared at the holographic display filling the command center. The massive object had appeared in Earth's orbit 17 minutes ago, materializing without triggering a single early warning system. "Sensor confirmation?" she asked, maintaining the calm demeanor that had earned her command of Earth's unified defense force. "It's real, Admiral," her XO confirmed. "Approximately 4 kilometers in length, crystalline structure unlike any known material. And it's—" he hesitated. "It's refracting the lightning somehow, almost like it's absorbing the energy." Chen nodded, a tight knot forming in her stomach. 10 years ago, her brother had disappeared during a classified deep space mission. Now she stood as humanity's first line of defense against what many had feared but few had prepared for. "We are not alone." "Options?" she asked, scanning the anxious faces of her senior staff. General Park's response was immediate. "Defensive posture. Activate all orbital platforms. We should assume hostile intent until proven otherwise." Dr. Lakshmi Singh, the civilian xenobiologist liaison, countered. "We've prepared first contact protocols for decades. This is not a military situation. It's a diplomatic one." Chen studied the alien vessel, its hull shimming with each lightning strike. The decision would define humanity's future, possibly its survival. Her hand moved to the small jade pendant at her throat, her brother's last gift. "Initiate first contact protocols," she ordered, silencing Park's objection with a raised hand. "But keep defense systems at ready status. We'll be welcoming, but not naive." 12 hours later, Chen led Earth's hastily assembled delegation aboard the International Space Station, now serving as a neutral meeting ground. The alien representatives had agreed to these terms with surprising ease, as if they had expected them. The airlock cycled open, revealing a sphere of liquid metal that floated into the conference module. It hovered momentarily before collapsing into a humanoid form, tall, elegant, with translucent skin that revealed complex machinery pulsing beneath its surface. "I am Ambassador Zixtar of the Valorian Collective," it announced in perfect English. "We come to welcome Earth to the Galactic community." Chen noted how the alien's eyes, too large, too blue, scanned each human with clinical detachment. "We appreciate your peaceful approach," Chen responded. "Earth is honored to establish relations with your people." Zixtar's rehearsed smile didn't reach those calculating eyes. "The Valorian Collective has extensive experience guiding developing species toward appropriate technological and social advancement. Your civilization has reached a crucial developmental stage requiring oversight." The condescension was unmistakable. Chen exchanged glances with UN Secretary Okafor, recognizing the diplomatic trap being laid. Rather than challenge the assumption directly, Chen tapped her wristpad, activating a holographic display between them. "Perhaps you'd be interested in some of our recent scientific developments," she said casually. "This is our latest quantum computing architecture, developed at the African Union Technology Center last year." The reaction was subtle but unmistakable. The alien's pupils dilated, and beneath its transparent skin, biological machinery pulsed more rapidly. "Interesting," Chen continued, noting the response. "The distributed entanglement matrix allows for computational density approaching theoretical limits. Perhaps we could compare notes with your own systems." Zixtar's composure fractured momentarily. "This is unexpected. Your developmental trajectory suggests you shouldn't have reached this stage for at least 70 more years." Before Chen could respond, the alien skin began pulsing with patterns of light. It stepped back abruptly. "Excuse me, urgent communication," Zixtar said, turning away. Chen nodded to Okafor, who subtly activated the enhanced audio receivers in her neural implant. The ambassador's whispered words to an unseen superior came through clearly. "They're already at Phase 4 development. The parameters were wrong. This changes everything." When Zixtar returned, the practiced diplomatic veneer had returned, but Chen had seen enough. As the meeting concluded with promises of further discussions, she watched the alien delegation depart with new understanding. Humanity had just been assessed, and for the first time, Shen wondered if we might have passed in ways the aliens never expected. Dr. Marcus Rivera hadn't slept in 72 hours. His underground DARPA lab had become both workspace and living quarters since the Valorian contact, coffee cups and food containers accumulating around his workstation like archaeological evidence of obsession. "Run comparison sequence Delta 9 again," he instructed his AI assistant, rubbing his bloodshot eyes. The holographic display pulsed to life, splitting into dual helical structures, one human, one Valorian, rotating in parallel. Around him, his team of geneticists and xenobiologists leaned forward. "There," Rivera pointed as the structures aligned. "That's not natural variation. The Valorian genome shows evidence of engineering across at least 2,000 generations. His finger traced patterns in the alien DNA. Look at the telomere structures, designed for longevity, but with sacrificed adaptability." Dr. Kwan, his deputy, nodded slowly. "It's like they've been optimized. But optimized means trade-offs." Rivera's hands trembled as he expanded the display. "They possess 78% less genetic diversity than humans. Their entire species might have less genetic variation than a small human town." He let that sink in before adding, "They're crippled, evolutionarily speaking. Engineered for specific traits at the cost of adaptability." Across the Atlantic, in the sub-basement of the United Nations complex, Intelligence Officer Aisha Okafor fought her own battle against exhaustion. Her desk was surrounded by quantum processing units she'd requisitioned from 3 different agencies, running decryption algorithms against the Valorian communications intercepted during first contact. Her phone buzzed. Another message from her ex-husband's lawyer about custody arrangements for their daughter. She silenced it without looking. Some battles would have to wait. The decryption matrix suddenly pulsed green. Okafor straightened, fingers flying across interfaces as data streamed across her screens. "Holy shit," she whispered. 30 minutes later, she burst into the highest-level diplomatic briefing in human history, ignoring the outraged security officers trailing behind her. "Officer Okafor," Admiral Chen said coolly, "this is a closed session. They're afraid of us," Okafor announced, slamming her tablet onto the conference table. "I cracked their internal communications." The room fell silent as she projected intercepted Valorian assessments onto the wall screen. Human neural architecture demonstrates dangerous unpredictability. Genetic diversity exceeds safety parameters by 312%. Evolutionary history suggests resistance to standard cognitive limitation protocols. Recommendation: immediate containment or accelerated integration. President Santiago studied the translations. "They see us as a threat." "Not just a threat," Okafor replied. "Something they don't understand. My analysis suggests their civilization values predictability above all else. We are not predictable." At MIT's Computational Intelligence Lab, 22-year-old graduate student Jamie Chen, no relation to the Admiral, was having the most surreal day of his young life. What had begun as an independent project, using his music prediction AI to analyze the limited Valorian technical data released to the scientific community, had unexpectedly flagged patterns that shouldn't exist. The technology follows rules, he explained to the hastily assembled government committee that had appeared in his dormitory at 3 a.m., not just engineering best practices, but actual mathematical progressions, like they're following a predetermined development path. He projected his findings, elegant mathematical relationships underlying seemingly disparate Valorian technologies. Their tech is advanced, but I don't know how to explain it. It's predictable. Once you understand the underlying algorithms, you can extrapolate where they'll go next. "And our technology?" asked the stone-faced NSA representative. Jamie shrugged. "Chaotic by comparison. We pursue multiple approaches simultaneously, even contradictory ones. We embrace failed experiments. Their development path is like a highway. Ours is like a city growing organically. In the Pentagon's Situation Room, Admiral Chen received the consolidated intelligence briefing, each report confirming what her instincts had suggested since first contact. "So they're not necessarily more advanced," she said thoughtfully, watching the holographic display of the Valorian vessel. "They're just more consistent." General Park nodded. "The question isn't whether we can catch up to them." Chen finished the thought, allowing herself a rare smile. "The question is whether they can keep up with us." The shuttle docked with the Valorian mothership with a gentle thud. Admiral Chen led Earth's delegation. Dr. Rivera, Officer Okafor, and several specialists, through the airlock, immediately struck by the unexpected environment. Not the sterile metal corridors of human science fiction, but bioluminescent passages that pulsed with light like living arteries. Their invitation came only after I threatened to publish their communications. Chen whispered to Rivera, "Remember that when they pretend this is a courtesy." Ambassador Zixtar met them with practiced pleasantness. "Welcome to the Nexus vessel. The Harmonic Concordance representatives are eager to meet Earth's envoys." Chen paused. "The Harmonic Concordance. I thought we were meeting Valorian leadership." Something like embarrassment crossed Zixtar's features. "The Valorian Collective is merely one member species. Please, they are waiting." The corridor opened into a vast spherical chamber where floating platforms supported delegates of startling diversity. Gaseous beings contained in crystalline vessels, multi-limbed entities with chidnous exoskeletons, and even a creature that seemed composed entirely of interlocking geometric shapes. "Earth representatives," Zixtar announced with formal intonation. "I present the Regional Council of the Harmonic Concordance." Chen maintained her diplomatic facade, while Okafor subtly activated the quantum scanner hidden in her ceremonial necklace. The device, developed after studying Valorian communications, could intercept and translate nearby transmissions. During the formal exchange of greetings, Rivera studied the species with fascination. "Your biological diversity is remarkable," he commented to a hovering crystalline being. "Did you all evolve in similar environments?" The being emitted harmonic tones that their translator rendered with unexpected tension. "Evolution is guided, of course. No sentient species achieves stability without proper developmental oversight." Over the next 4 hours, through careful questioning and Okafor's covered interceptions, a revolutionary picture emerged. The Harmonic Concordance was not just a political alliance, but a developmental hierarchy. 17 species maintained in careful balance through controlled technological and biological advancement. "You're saying none of you evolved naturally?" Rivera asked during a cultural exchange session, unable to mask his shock. The floating crystalline delegates' lights pulsed with what seemed like confusion. "All sentient species require guidance to avoid developmental dead ends. Each member species was uplifted by predecessors, following the established patterns." The most revealing moment came unexpectedly. Admiral Chen had brought her 16-year-old daughter Maya as a diplomatic gesture, representing Earth's future generation. During a demonstration of concordance logic systems, the alien facilitator presented what was described as a developmental assessment puzzle. This logic sequence requires a minimum of 12 steps to resolve. The instructor explained with a tone suggesting this was an impossible challenge for humans. Maya, who had been quietly observing, spoke up. "Actually, it only needs 4 steps if you approach it differently." The silence was absolute as the teenager calmly rearranged the holographic symbols, creating a solution through a completely different methodology. The puzzle's designer emitted distress pheromones so strong the human delegates could smell them. Back on Earth, analysts working with partial star charts provided during the cultural exchange made a disturbing discovery. "These are their exploration routes over the past 5 centuries," explained the NASA astronavigator to President Santiago. She highlighted patterns on the holographic display. "Notice anything strange?" Santiago studied the map. "They curve away from our sector. All of them." "Exactly. They've known about us for at least 300 years, she confirmed. And they've been deliberately avoiding us. As the delegation prepared to return to Earth, Chen cornered Zixtar in a private moment. Why has the Concordance been avoiding Earth's sector? She asked directly. The ambassador's skin flashed with involuntary patterns of stress. There was disagreement about potential first contact protocols for unguided species. Earth presented unique challenges. Because we evolved without your oversight, Chen pressed. Zixtar's discomfort was palpable. Evolution without guidance is theoretically impossible. Chaotic variables always lead to extinction. The alien hesitated. Yet here you are. The Concordance leadership found this concerning. Chen smiled thinly. Perhaps you should have been more concerned. Buenos Aires erupted in both celebration and protest as the Harmonic Concordance's assessment vessel descended through storm clouds, its silver-blue hull reflecting lightning in prismatic patterns. The repurposed Olympic Stadium, hastily designated as Earth's official reception zone, bristled with security and surveillance equipment from 17 different agencies. President Santiago watched the landing on a secure feed, surrounded by military and scientific advisors. They didn't give us much choice about this assessment, he noted grimly. Better to know what they're looking for than refuse and confirm their suspicions, Admiral Chen replied. Whatever those might be. The assessment team emerged from their vessel wearing identical silver containment suits, 6 different species, each moving with the precise coordination of long practice. Their leader, a multi-limbed entity standing nearly 8 feet tall, approached the human delegation. I am Evaluation Overseer Tlexin, it announced through its translation device. We come to evaluate human developmental potential. Compliance is mandatory under Concordance Protocol. Chen stepped forward. Earth welcomes the opportunity to demonstrate our capabilities, with one condition. All testing will be broadcast globally. The alien's upper limbs twitched in what analysts later identified as alarm. Assessment protocols are confidential. Not on Earth, Chen interrupted. Transparency is our condition. After a tense consultation among the assessment team, Tlexin reluctantly agreed. Over the next 3 weeks, billions watched as humans underwent increasingly bizarre testing scenarios. The aliens' clinical detachment gradually eroded as their standardized protocols yielded unprecedented results. In the neurological assessment chamber, volunteer subjects demonstrated simultaneous activation of logical and intuitive brain functions while solving complex problems. A cognitive pattern one alien researcher accidentally revealed was theoretically impossible, according to Concordance models. How can you maintain parallel processing pathways without neural degradation? Demanded the flustered examiner. Dr. Eliza Wong, the neuroscientist volunteer, shrugged. That's just how human brains work. We call it intuitive leaping. The genetic assessment became particularly revealing when Dr. Rivera volunteered his own DNA. The resulting concordance analysis triggered an outburst that translators rendered as statistical anomaly detected. Rivera explained to the global audience, "My ancestry includes genetic adaptations from populations that evolved on 6 different continents under varying environmental pressures. Natural selection created more diversity in our single species than exists in entire concordance evolutionary lines." Most dramatically, Commander Lena Takahashi entered the combat assessment sphere, where she faced simulated threats designed to evaluate tactical adaptability. When the simulation began, she immediately ignored the expected engagement protocols, exploiting environmental features instead of confronting obstacles directly. "Subject is malfunctioning," announced the confused administrator. "No," Takahashi replied, continuing to reprogram the environmental systems to turn threats against each other. "I'm just not following your script." When she discovered and exploited a system vulnerability that allowed her to reprogram the threats themselves, the simulation terminated abruptly. "You can't do that," the alien administrator insisted, mandibles clicking with agitation. Takahashi's casual response, "I just did," became an instant global meme, appearing on T-shirts worldwide within hours. On the assessment's final day, Admiral Chen found herself alone with Overseer Tlexin in the observation lounge overlooking the stadium. "Your conclusions?" she asked directly. The alien's containment suit couldn't hide its agitation. "Your species exhibits developmental patterns that contradict all established models. You shouldn't exist. And yet, here we are," Chen replied evenly. "You don't understand." Tlexin's translation device conveyed genuine distress. "Humans aren't an emerging species requiring guidance. You're a fully realized chaotic variable with potential to surpass the entire concordance within a century. Nothing evolves this way naturally." "Is that your official assessment?" Chen asked. "My official assessment," Tlexin replied quietly, "is that the concordance has never faced a species like humanity before, and we don't know what to do about it." The alien's admission was broadcast worldwide before concordance sensors could block the transmission. The leaked assessment triggered unprecedented activity across the harmonic concordance. For the first time in 7 centuries, the council chamber erupted into open disorder as representatives abandoned the ritualized debate formats that had governed their proceedings for millennia. On Earth, Aisha Okafer's interception systems captured the chaos, her enhanced algorithms translating the cacophony of alien communications in real time. President Santiago, Admiral Chen, and key advisors gathered in the White House Situation Room, watching the spectacle unfold on wall-sized displays. "The humans represent an existential anomaly," declared Elder Sovareth, his crystalline form pulsing with agitated light patterns. The ancient Vox collective leader's words carried special weight, representing the concordance's founding species. "Their developmental pattern violates all established progression models. Intervention is not optional. It is mandatory." Sovareth's faction, primarily elder species, outlined their comprehensive strategy: technological restriction zones disguised as protected development regions, neural compliance implants presented as medical aid, and carefully managed isolation from vulnerable concordant species. "Their unguided evolution represents a fundamental threat to concordant stability," another elder representative added. "Immediate containment is required." Opposition came from unexpected quarters. Representative Neri, speaking for the Farseekers, one of the youngest admitted concordant species, countered with surprising force. "They evolved without guidance, yet achieved in centuries what took us millennia under supervision." Neri argued, her tentacled form gesturing emphatically. "Perhaps our models are incomplete. Perhaps they represent exactly what our stagnating civilization needs: unpredictable creativity, adaptability, new perspectives." The debate reached unprecedented intensity when the Vox spokesperson recommended preemptive developmental limitation if humanity refused concordance oversight, a euphemism that intelligence analysts quickly identified as referring to targeted viral agents designed to reduce cognitive function across a population. "They're talking about deliberately limiting human intelligence," Dr. Rivera translated for the president, "if we don't agree to their terms." Santiago paced the situation room, the weight of the decision visible in his bearing. The former emergency room surgeon, elected for his crisis management reputation after the Pacific tsunami crisis, carried the decisive instincts from his medical career into leadership. "They're discussing our future without us in the room," he said finally, stopping before the tactical display. "That ends today." His authorization of Operation Wildcard came at 3:17 a.m. Eastern Time. Within minutes, demonstrations of previously undisclosed technologies activated simultaneously worldwide. In Beijing's Olympic Plaza, quantum engineers activated a gravity manipulation field that lifted the Bird's Nest Stadium 10 meters off the ground with zero structural stress. Technology the concordance believed impossible without their theoretical frameworks. In Nairobi's Technological Innovation Park, medical researchers publicly demonstrated rapid tissue regeneration, regrowing a volunteer's severed finger in 17 minutes using principles that contradicted concordance biological models. Most dramatically, in Antarctica, The multinational Quantum Shield Initiative activated a planetary defense matrix that temporarily disrupted all concordance observation systems, a clear demonstration that humanity could defend its technological sovereignty if threatened. Santiago's globally broadcast message was deliberately brief. We appreciate the Concordance's interest in Earth. We look forward to peaceful cooperation as equals. Humanity's development will remain self-directed. In the Concordance Council chamber, Elder Savareth watched the human broadcasts with growing alarm. The Vox Collective's careful analyses had projected humanity would need decades to develop such technologies independently. How did we miscalculate so severely? He demanded of the assessment team. Overseer Tlickson's response was simple. They don't think like us. They don't develop like us. And they certainly won't be controlled like us. A junior Vox analyst spoke up hesitantly. The technological demonstrations appeared deliberately chosen to counter our proposed containment strategies. How did they know? They've been listening to us, Savareth realized, his crystalline form darkening with emotion. While we've been studying them, they've been studying us. The Concordance's most fundamental advantage, the ability to guide species development from a position of superior knowledge, had evaporated. For the first time in its history, the Concordance faced a species that refused to follow the script. The Valorian diplomatic vessel's emergency departure from Earth orbit created a spectacle of light visible across Earth's night sky, a hasty retreat that spoke volumes about the changing relationship between humanity and the Concordance. Within hours, Earth's quantum transmission reached every Concordance world simultaneously, bypassing traditional communication protocols. The message was elegantly simple. All demonstration technologies would be offered freely to any Concordance species seeking partnership based on equality, not hierarchy. The transmission concluded with an unprecedented invitation to direct diplomatic relations, deliberately circumventing Concordance authority structures. Then Earth waited. They didn't wait long. Unidentified vessel approaching lunar orbit, announced the Space Defense Command Officer. Configuration matches no known Concordance design. Admiral Chen, monitoring from Lunar Defense Headquarters, studied the approaching ship. Smaller than Valorian vessels, its hull featured distinctive spiral patterns, open communication channels, all frequencies. The response came immediately. Greetings, Earth. This is Emissary Vila of the Farseeker Confederation. We wish to discuss your partnership offer directly. Within 24 hours, unauthorized diplomatic landings occurred across Earth. The Farseekers arrived first in Geneva, followed by representatives from 4 other younger Concordance civilizations, all seeking unmediated treaties with humanity. Dr. Sophia Kim, Earth's newly appointed Sino-Diplomatic Liaison, found herself at the center of this historical inflection point. The Korean-Brazilian diplomat, whose previous work resolving the Amazon resource conflicts had earned her both acclaim and enemies, recognized the opportunity immediately. The fundamental flaw in the Concordance model, she explained during a pivotal session with Farseeker representatives, is the assumption that development must follow a single prescribed path. Earth offers a different approach, collaborative exploration of multiple possibilities. This philosophy resonated profoundly with species like the Farseekers, who had long chafed under rigid developmental doctrines that classified them as junior members of the Concordance. When Kim proposed joint research initiatives without hierarchical oversight, 3 species immediately committed resources. Your approach values questions over answers, noted the Farseeker emissary, faceted eyes blinking with emotion their translators couldn't capture. Our elders taught us to avoid certain questions entirely. The Vox Collective's response was swift and predictable. Their advanced warship contingent entered Earth's solar system in perfect formation. 27 vessels arranged in symbolic patterns meant to demonstrate both power and harmony. The unauthorized diplomatic engagement violates fundamental Concordance protocols, came the transmission from the Vox flagship. All non-sanctioned representatives must withdraw immediately for appropriate developmental guidance. Admiral Chen, monitoring from the Lunar Defense Station, exchanged glances with President Santiago via holographic link. Both recognized the moment for what it was, the inevitable confrontation with the old order. They're deploying what they believe is an undetectable quantum probe toward Earth, reported the tactical officer. Targeting appears focused on our shield matrix generators. Chen nodded, just as we anticipated. Activate Mobius shield. Across Earth, varied quantum resonators activated simultaneously. The planetary defense grid engaged, surrounding Earth with a rippling energy field that not only neutralized the probe, but temporarily distorted the Vox vessel's sensor systems, technology incorporating principles the Concordance believed theoretically impossible. That's not in any developmental sequence, came the intercepted communication from the Vox commander, their controlled tone finally breaking. They've integrated quantum field manipulation with standard physics. How? The Concordance Council convened an emergency session, but the paradigm had irrevocably shifted. For the first time in its millennia-long history, the council chamber included representatives from outside its hierarchy, the human delegation, led by Dr. Kim and Admiral Chen. The Vox Collective has guided the Concordance wisely for generations, Kim acknowledged in her opening address, choosing her words carefully. But perhaps guidance and control are not synonymous. Perhaps the time has come for a new model of cooperation. As she spoke, 3 junior Concordance species moved their floating platforms to position themselves alongside Earth's delegation, a symbolic realignment that sent shockwaves through the chamber. The balance of power had shifted, not through conquest or coercion, but through the simple offer of partnership without domination. The Concordance Central Nexus, a massive space station at the gravitational center of their territory, had never hosted negotiations like these. For 3 tense weeks, discussions proceeded according to Concordance protocols, structured formats, predetermined speaking orders, and consensus-building matrices that favored their communication styles. Dr. Sophia Kim had played along, allowing the Vox Collective to believe they maintained procedural control. But during the critical session on resource-sharing protocols, she deliberately shattered convention. "Before we proceed with the formal proposal," Kim announced, rising from her seat, "I'd like to demonstrate Earth's approach to problem-solving." What followed shocked the Concordance representatives. The human delegation began openly disagreeing with each other. Admiral Chen argued for security priorities, while economic advisors countered with trade considerations. Scientists debated with historians about precedents and possibilities. Elder Savareth of the Vox Collective interrupted, crystalline form pulsing with agitation. "This is chaos. Proper negotiation requires consensus before presentation." "This isn't chaos," Kim countered. "This is our strength. Watch what happens next." As the human delegation vigorously debated, something emerged that the Concordance had rarely witnessed: synthesis of opposing viewpoints into stronger solutions. Ideas collided, merged, transformed, and evolved in real time, producing a resource-sharing framework that addressed concerns no single perspective would have identified. "You see disagreement as disorder," Kim explained to the stunned aliens. "We see it as the engine of innovation." Representatives from younger Concordance species leaned forward, fascinated. The Farseekers began whispering among themselves, their translator units deliberately muted. Theory became practice when sensors detected a destructive spatial anomaly at the edge of Concordance territory, a quantum fluctuation threatening 3 inhabited systems, including a Farseeker colony world. The Vox Collective immediately activated standard crisis protocols, deploying conventional containment vessels equipped with field stabilizers. Predictable, methodical, and, according to Dr. Kwame Nkosi's calculations, utterly insufficient. "Your response is inadequate," the Nigerian physicist announced, interrupting the emergency session. He projected alternative models showing the anomaly's expansion outpacing conventional countermeasures. "Our models have contained 17 similar anomalies over 9 centuries," the Vox representative responded dismissively. Nkosi broke another Concordance taboo. He directly challenged authority with data. Your models assume uniform physics across the affected sector. Our readings show localized variations requiring adaptive countermeasures. For decades, Nkozi's theories on dimensional porosity have been rejected by human institutions before being vindicated. He recognized dogmatic thinking when he encountered it, even in alien form. If you follow standard protocols, you'll lose those colonies, he stated flatly. After tense deliberation, the Farseeker representatives made an unprecedented decision. They requested direct human assistance outside Concordance command structures. Within hours, Nkozi led a hastily assembled joint team. Humans working alongside scientists from 4 concordant species to develop a solution no single approach could have produced. A network of quantum stabilizers incorporating both concordance technology and human theoretical frameworks previously dismissed as developmentally inappropriate. What followed became known as the convergence moment. Human intuitive problem-solving, combined with Farseeker's spatial mapping technology and Vox quantum engineering in ways no single species would have conceived. When traditional approaches failed as the anomaly evolved, the team adapted in real time, revising assumptions and testing new hypotheses. The successful containment, with 0 casualties, sent shockwaves through the concordance. Footage of human and alien scientists collaborating through crisis, completing each other's equations, challenging assumptions, building on each other's ideas, spread throughout concordance worlds. Do you understand what happened? Dr. Rivera asked Overseer Tlexon as they reviewed the anomaly data afterward. Your methods are unsettling, the alien admitted. Concordance science values predictability. Control. You embrace chaos as a tool. Rivera smiled. We've discovered something remarkable. We don't just learn differently. We learn better together. Your precision combined with our creativity. Your stability with our adaptability. The request rates for human educational exchanges increased 8,000% within a week. Meanwhile, on Earth, the integration of concordance technological knowledge into human development cycles accelerated innovation across multiple fields. The first hybrid medical technology, combining Farseeker regenerative techniques with human stem cell applications, successfully treated previously incurable neural degradation disorders, demonstrating the power of collaborative development. Humanity had proven itself not as dangerous outsiders, but as essential partners in a new type of galactic cooperation. 5 years after the Valorian vessel first appeared in Earth's stormy skies, representatives from 23 species gathered in the newly constructed Convergence Dome in Nairobi. The breathtaking structure, its living architecture combining Earth materials with concordance biotechnology, seemed to float above the landscape, a physical manifestation of the new order. Admiral Helena Chen, now serving as the first human High Commissioner of the newly formed Galactic Cooperative, stood at the central podium. The jade pendant that had once belonged to her brother, now known to have encountered a concordant scout ship during his failed mission, hung visibly at her throat. 5 years ago, a ship appeared in our skies, she began, her voice carrying across the assembled dignitaries and the billions watching throughout human and concordant space. They came expecting to find primitive beings requiring guidance. What they discovered instead was a mirror reflecting their greatest fears, and ultimately, their greatest hopes. The transformation of galactic power structures over those 5 years had been nothing short of revolutionary. The rigidly hierarchical harmonic concordance had evolved into the more dynamic galactic cooperative, with Earth playing a central role in its adaptive governance model that emphasized innovation over stability. Most remarkably, the ancient Vox Collective, after initial fierce resistance, had begun a painful but necessary cultural transformation. The turning point came unexpectedly, in a research lab on Mars, where a young Vox researcher named Ixtil, participating in Earth's open scientific exchange program, made a startling discovery. Studying ancient Vox genetic records with unrestricted human eye analysis tools, Ixtil found evidence that their species' original evolutionary path had been artificially diverted millennia ago by their own ancestors. The Vox had engineered themselves, sacrificing adaptability for predictability and control, a revelation that triggered a philosophical crisis within their civilization. This led to the unprecedented request for human assistance in reclaiming their genetic diversity, a project now led by Dr. Rivera, and a team of human geneticists working alongside Vox biological specialists. The greatest irony, Rivera had told the UN Assembly, is that they feared our chaotic development, never realizing that the chaos of natural evolution was what they had lost. Earth itself had transformed beyond recognition. Alien exchange students and researchers became common sights in universities and research centers worldwide. The first hybrid neighborhoods accommodated multiple species' biological needs, while human popular culture enthusiastically incorporated alien artistic elements. Most surprisingly to the concordant species, humans actively sought to learn from failures rather than hiding them. The Museum of Productive Mistakes became one of Earth's most popular destinations for alien visitors, showcasing how error and adaptation drove innovation. The ceremony reached its climax as the viewscreens displayed the Horizon Boundless preparing for launch from the lunar spaceport, a joint exploration vessel crewed by humans and representatives from 7 former concordant species. Its mission: to venture beyond known space, equipped with technology combining the best of multiple civilizations' approaches. Dr. Rivera, watching from the habitat ring with Tlexin, once the Concordance assessment overseer and now his research partner, shared a quiet moment of reflection. "Do you know what the most valuable export from Earth has been?" Rivera asked, looking out at the stars. "Not our technology or resources. Your approach to failure." Tlexin responded with the harmonics that Rivera had learned indicated profound emotion. "You humans expect to fail, plan for it, learn from it, and ultimately transform it. The Concordance spent millennia trying to engineer failure out of existence. As the Horizon Boundless departed on humanity's first true voyage into deep space, Dr. Kim addressed the crew with words that would become the cooperative's unofficial motto. "The universe is not a puzzle to be solved according to predetermined rules. It is a mystery to be explored through countless perspectives." In the Nairobi Dome, Chen concluded her address by returning to the question that had haunted first contact. They asked how humans could evolve without guidance. The answer was always simple: we had the best guides possible. Our failures, our questions, and each other. The stars, once thought to be the domain of advanced aliens, had become humanity's greatest opportunity to share its most valuable resource: the unique human perspective.